Yet another YouTuber has gone completely insane, and this time it's on a completely different level.
I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now.
As this YouTuber with 2 million followers was pulled over by the police, instead of just accepting the ticket, he ended up hitting the cop, reportedly making the cop fly over 20 feet as he left the scene of the crime.
Our Father who art in heaven.
Lately, this channel's been covering the weird uprise in social media influencers throwing their life away for split-second decisions. Now, if you haven't heard of this YouTuber before, it's probably because you're not in the house hunting niche, and I'm not either, and I've never heard of the guy, but his name is Erik Conover. The guy's had endless videos go viral where he goes around New York touring extremely expensive mansions, giving the public a little taste on shit that they're never going to be able to afford. But generally, it's just rich people shit. Like, why would you have such a big theater room in such a small theater screen?
Talk about rich people's problems.
Well, Erik here recently found himself arrested in prison. You know, instead of deciding to stop for a traffic ticket for speeding 30 and a 50, he decided to run. And when the cops finally caught up to him, he ran over the cop. But Erik, he insists that the cops got the wrong guy. You know, despite the person who recorded him running the cops' body cam footage and the drone that happened to catch it when it happened. He claims because he's been sober for 5 years that the DUI pullover, it couldn't have been him.
I have everything right here and it's all been falsified.
Erik Conover had a lot to say before his arraignment this afternoon.
If anyone dares try to test my mental competence, I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now. And that's not being egotistical.
Police paperwork says the pursuit started after Conover was going 55 in a 35. After 8 miles, Conover stopped and an officer attempted to de-escalate the situation, but Conover allegedly drove at him and hit him in the leg and then sped off for another 28 miles. The paperwork says the officer was thrown 40 feet, suffering a leg injury. Conover is facing several charges, including attempted murder.
Mom, thank God, look at me!
But obviously, there's a lot more to the story. Apparently, Mr. Conover's been off of his meds, even making a social media post saying that the pharmaceutical industry is gaslighting him into taking medication. Medication that people online have started speculating looks exactly like the medication used to treat schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Yeah, the pharmaceutical industry tried to gaslight me that I needed medication too, when all you need is some discipline of your emotional state. That aged like milk. So I scrubbed the internet. I looked for a good few hours for the rest of this footage from the courtroom hearing, but I really couldn't find it. I think that they just released the couple clips that were relevant to what they were talking about when they reported on this initially, which is extremely disappointing because obviously the whole thing is full of hilarious shit like this. And when you consider his stories of him saying he's not taking his medicine anymore, it maybe explains his behavior at court.
I don't want it.
Okay, you don't want it. But you're still gonna take it.
No!
If you had to ask me what angle his defense lawyers are going to take while trying to get him off of these charges, they're probably going to say insanity. He wasn't well, he wasn't of the right mind, but I would argue that his actions for the past couple days leading up to that violent interaction with the cops is not defensible with that.
The paperwork says the officer was thrown 40 feet, suffering a leg injury.
Apparently, when the cop was going to the back of his vehicle, he went onto the front of Conover's vehicle when he realized it was rolling forward, and then Conover took off and the cop was on the front. And Conover did some evasive maneuvers, either hitting the brakes really hard or swerving really hard one way, and it flung the officer with all the momentum that the vehicle had in the moment. But I don't really think the defense lawyer is going to be able to use that fact to change how the charges are laid against Conover, because whether you're hitting the guy 40 feet from initial impact or you're taking him for a ride on your hood, hitting the brakes and sending him on a 40-foot tumble roll, the outcome and the intention is still the damn same. And if all it took for Conover to make those calls is for him to willingly go off of his meds, then yeah, he's a risk to the public.
Today in court, Conover was outspoken, claiming that he's a public figure because of his nearly 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and saying this was part of a, quote, police sting against him.
Now, Conover says on a month-old podcast that he's been sober for over 1,000 days.
1,444 days sober from alcohol today.
I've been sober from alcohol for 1,558 days, so to press me on a DUI, I'm a public figure.
Then police records show that he got pulled over for DUI just a few days before this entire police interaction happened. And it makes sense because on Instagram, just a few days earlier, he posted a photo with the caption, "Ouch, cuffed up" on it. It looks kind of like you were cuffed up for DUI. So my guess is all of this happened in the heat of the moment off of his meds because he didn't want to get caught for the second time driving under the influence. In hindsight, Probably wishes he would have just took the ticket. Conover here probably thought he was on top of the world, untouchable because of his huge YouTube following and his luck online. But the luck runs out one day because literally a drone operator they just happened to be in the air recording the incident when the incident happened. With one of the police statements saying, "We're very fortunate that an amateur drone operator was in the air when he saw the interaction and was able to capture it on video." And Conover's saying that this is a police thing to try to take him down off YouTube because he's famous. I mean, I can see if he's off his meds that might make sense in some weird world. But like also if you're on your meds, you might be able to realize that the cops are looking out for you since you were already caught probably twice doing DUIs. So they were probably watching for you. Also, when he testified, he said that they got the wrong YouTuber, that they must have somebody else.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
His evidence is that he was from a different place that isn't New York where he does his work, which is funny because his birth records say that he was born and raised in that place they said he was from. So when they say it's false filing, he's just looking at it not through the lens of logic. But yeah, the pharmaceutical company must be gaslighting him. He's not gaslighting the courts. My gosh. I swear social media influencers are literally getting so blatant with the crimes they do, and then they're just feeling like they're invincible to the court system and to the public.
So to press me on a DUI, I'm a public figure.
How could I have done this crime? I make videos of houses. Of course I couldn't have done this crime. Think with your head.
You know, the state's position is that when a law enforcement officer signals for you to pull over and stop, you should do so.
Man, this guy must have been caught so off guard, like didn't realize he was on air, and they're like, hey, you're on the air. And he's like, the state position is if a cop is pulling you over to stop, you know, don't, like the state's position is to not run people over. Thanks, Tips. And Erik's Hail Mary here is, "I am not a drunk driver. I have been sober for 1,000 days. This is a sting operation. The police are trying to set me up as some sort of a repeated drunk driver." But he's not trying to deny the fact that he hit a cop 40 feet, which I don't understand. Like, obviously, if you are willing to hit a cop 40 feet sober, then you're probably willing to do it accidentally drunk. Just using my head here. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. If I missed anything, I'd love to be enlightened. Why did that last clip sound like I was about to cry? But he's being held in detention right now, probably for good reason. He's going to be showing up in court next week for a probable cause hearing, which police body cam footage, witness testimony, police testimony, drone footage. I feel like this is going to be something kind of hard to lie your way out of. And keeping the mind open to things that could happen. I mean, even if there was a sting operation, you still drove over the cop. You're not getting out of that charge. If you have to ask me, I think that in a couple months' time, we're probably going to be seeing some super bomb-ass jail cell luxury tours coming out of that channel.
Check that out.
But probably in a few months, we're gonna see the body cam footage go public that shows Erik getting pulled out of the car after he hit the cop. The footage that he claims is not him. But you know, when the jury sees this footage that's not released to the public yet of him running over the cop, you know, from the body cam footage, it's gonna be an open and closed case. Cops are like a protected class in the US and Canada and other first world countries too. And in third world countries, you could argue they're even more of a protected class because of the corruption. So, I don't think he's going to be making YouTube videos anytime soon unless it's from the inside of a jail cell. When the body cam or drone footage or more video from the trial goes public, I'll be sure to put that right next to Erik saying lies because I think that'll be a funny side-by-side comparison. Other than that, I posted a 2-minute rant about how I got copyrighted by the Law Street Journal, and if that doesn't interest you, there's a video that YouTube thinks you might enjoy as well. Other than that, I needed a little bit of time on the weekend to clean the house, but videos should be more frequent than ever now that the house is clean. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.